What's up, guys? Me and Larson are back. Chase is stranded at the airport with a dead vehicle, so thoughts and prayers to him. He can't join us this week, but we're the ones here. We're always here. We're handing out money. As you can see, I say it every show. You see the records on the screen. We've been having a good season, and I'm kind of light this week. The board wasn't really speaking to me, and that's okay. You know, sometimes it's the games that you don't pick against the games that you do pick. But let's start with Thursday. You got anything on Tulsa, Memphis, or Georgia Southern Louisiana?
No, I don't. I do not.
All right. Well, let's move on. I do have something
Yeah.
for Friday. I do have something for Friday. Before I get to it, do you have anything East Carolina, Cincy, or Fresno UNLV?
I was looking at East Carolina just because I've said it all year. I'm just not impressed with Cincinnati at all.
Yeah.
I would prefer this game if it was at East Carolina.
Oh, it's a lock.
It would be easy, right? But I think the market says East Carolina. I've been looking at them. I'm probably going to stay away, but that's what I would lean towards.
Yeah, me too. My game that I do have that night, one of the few I have the under 66 in Colorado USC. Colorado hasn't really. Colorado definitely hasn't. USC hasn't really blown anybody out. Colorado doesn't feel like they're going to score a ton of points. I could see this being like a 41 to 10. That's not that close to 66. I don't think this is going to be a huge blowout.
Yeah, I feel that way too, especially with USC. You got UCLA coming up next week. It's a huge game. Could be a little look ahead.
Friday night game could come out a little flat. It makes sense. So we'll move on to Saturday. We got some interesting ones in the first slate. Not a lot that I like to touch. First, we'll go Ohio State, Indiana.
Another one I was looking at, I feel kind of gross, but it might be Indiana.
41 points is a lot of points.
It's a lot of points, and Indiana's defense is not bad. They'll at least make Ohio State sweat a little bit. Indiana's 6-0 against the spread their last 6 games in Columbus, which is interesting. I'm not going to play it, but it would be Indiana for me. I just think it feels like this Ohio State team is kind of at like a come to Jesus moment recently, especially with their awful game last week. So it's a stay away.
It's going to feel like one of those moments where I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, Indiana plus 41, and then I'm going to look up and they're going to be down 52-3.
Yeah, it very much could be. And I'm wondering, I'm looking like a first half, Ohio State minus 25. I mean,
that's palatable.
I just wouldn't feel confident with anything in this game. 40 is a ton of points, but
me neither. This is an interesting one before we get to LSU, Arkansas. Missouri and Tennessee. I kind of don't have a read on this. I'm not picking it, but if I had to pick, I might take Missouri plus 21 because I really don't think they're that bad.
Yeah, I don't either. I've picked them. I had them last week. They kind of got screwed against Kentucky, but their defense is really good. At least their run defense is really elite. And there's kind of two ways you can look at it. Is Tennessee kind of having a hangover effect? We see teams after Georgia, after Bama, you kind of get this fall asleep and get this lull. But I just wonder, does Tennessee come out and just absolutely beat the crap out of people for the rest of their season?
Well, they play probably the 3 worst teams in the SEC to finish the year. They got Missouri, South Carolina, and Vandy.
But Missouri, they've played well, and that's the point for taking Missouri is they're playing well. Drinkwitz got a contract extension right before kickoff last week, so it's a stay away for me too. Does this feel like a game where maybe kind of Missouri hangs around for the first half and we all get a little excited? So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a stay away, but I would probably go Missouri if you made me pick this one. The next one that we have, I have LSU, Arkansas. I know you like Arkansas, but I cannot in good faith lay points on Arkansas. They burned me too many times.
Yeah, I mean, I did like Arkansas. I bet them really early in the week, and now it looks like the Sharps are coming back on LSU, which I hate. The reason for Arkansas was I know KJ's not healthy, and I had some people close to the situation tell me he's probably not playing. But the way that they the way they would beat LSU is they run the ball a lot. LSU's run defense isn't great. Arkansas could run the ball a lot, and I know their secondary isn't great. LSU could rip them apart on that end, but Arkansas's pass rush is really good. So maybe Daniels was scrambling around a little bit. That was kind of the way I was trying to talk myself into it. And Arkansas got embarrassed last week, but the Sharps coming back on LSU, it looks like. So it's probably going to be a stay away for me. This game has really screwed me up because, like I said, I bet Arkansas really heavy early in the week, and now I've kind of come around and had to come back on LSU a little bit. So Again,
I
another
just
game I'll probably stay away.
I just look at it and it's LSU -3, and that game should not be a -3. I understand it's a
Right.
rivalry, and this game is usually pretty close, but I just can't bring myself to get that close to it.
Since 2017, LSU has not covered the spread the week after Bama.
That's a good stat. That is a good
That's an
stat.
interesting one. I don't know. That game has put me in all kind of knots, so it's
Yeah.
nothing.
All right, Notre Dame Navy.
I was looking at Navy. I just think there's the stat out there about service
We swore
academies
off Navy.
getting. We swore off Navy, but
Lars.
these service academies get 17 points and they can cover those. It's probably a stay away. It's gone down to what, like 15 now, and the public's coming around on it. I feel like I missed the boat on it. If it was still at 17, I probably would take it.
Yeah.
But no, Notre Dame, big win for Notre Dame last week, but
exactly.
Stay away.
Yeah. Purdue and Illinois. Yuck.
Very gross.
This could be one that ruins Illinois' season, by the way.
Yeah, my gut tells me like I could maybe look at Purdue. I haven't even looked really into the game at all, but Illinois, they only lose to the really bad teams, and Purdue is not great right now. I just whatever I bet in that game loses.
I'm off Purdue. That's why you're seeing some of these plays dwindle. We're swearing off a lot of these teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Vanderbilt, Kentucky.
Do you have something there? I don't.
No.
I don't want to put money on Will Levis. I just don't.
Me neither. Oklahoma, West Virginia.
No, but I'm pretty sure this is a West Virginia loses and they fire their coach kind of game. I would imagine. Ooh, he's already on the hot seat.
Neil Brown, Troy guy.
Yeah.
This is actually an interesting game. This one kind of flew under my radar. Liberty and UConn. Two teams coming off big wins.
Yes. Actually, this is my first play. So I found a Liberty minus 13.5. The rest of the market has 14.5. So I took Liberty. UConn. I just look at statistically, the UConn offense getting first downs is not something that they do very well, and passing is also not the thing they do very well. They're outside of the top 120 in those categories, which is not good. Liberty's pass defense is really good, and I think Liberty's a good team. There could be a bit of a letdown spot, you could say, after that. They came in and embarrassed Arkansas last week, but Hugh Freeze right now is auditioning for Auburn, and he has a good team. He has a legitimately good team in Liberty. So UConn could come out here and play hard, try to get to a bowl. That could be next week, maybe, when they play Army. I will take the Liberty Flames. Just got to get 2 touchdowns. Not to mention the public loves UConn. The public is all over UConn, which is strange to say. But, I'll lay at the points with the Flames.
I like it. I really don't hate it. If I can find him at 13.5, I might ride with you.
If you find a 14 or a 13.5, I would take it because I mean 2 touchdowns is very reasonable. That team puts up points too.
We get the PU Bowl. We got Rutgers and Michigan State.
Yeah, and who was Michigan State? They beat. I can't remember. Let me see. Who did they just play?
Last week
they beat Illinois.
We were both in Athens having a time of our lives. That was a bit of a blur.
They beat Illinois. I mean, a 17-point underdog. So
I do have Liberty at 14, so I'll ride with you. That feels like at least I'm in a push spot.
Yeah, I think so. I don't want to touch Michigan State. What a gross game.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of gross Big Ten games, actually, this is later in the day. Surprisingly, I'll wait on that. Virginia Tech, Duke. Anything?
No, but Duke is like what? Like this is just so weird to see Duke just come out here killing these teams.
Yeah, I know. I have a comment on another ACC game later where somebody being favored is a little surprising. Well, not that surprising, but you wouldn't have guessed it at the beginning of the year.
We may be in the same boat, I think.
Yeah. Pittsburgh and Virginia.
The market is screaming Virginia here. I think the public's all over Pitt, and the sharps like Virginia a lot. And I can't get there because I just don't want to bet Virginia. They've already cashed my win total. The win total under was an easy cash.
That's why I'm staying off of like Vanderbilt against Kentucky. I'm not going to start eating against my own profit.
Yeah,
win totals
exactly.
Who do we got next? SMU, South Florida?
No, but if SMU scores 77, they'll probably win. Just like last week, yeah.
UL Monroe, Georgia State. Anything?
Disgusting.
JMU Old Dominion. The battle of the DMV area.
Yeah, I was actually looking at James Madison, but no, nothing. Their basketball team's a wagon right now.
This is going to be hilarious if you have something on this. Do you have anything on Lamar in New Mexico State?
No. I kind of wish I did, but no.
Me too. That's
no,
so gross.
I don't. That's
All right.
weird.
Rice, Western Kentucky.
No.
UMass, Arkansas State.
No.
Houston.
No.
Okay, this is a game I do have one on. I got this a little early. I am laying Michigan minus 28 against Nebraska.
I have no opinion on that. It's just stunning before the season. I mean, I knew Michigan was going to be good, but to say Michigan's laying 31 now,
yeah,
you got the best number there, so that seems fair.
Yeah, and also like this was back in the week when I just didn't have anything like at all. I had no picks, and I just couldn't see the board, and I had to throw something out there. And Michigan, I was like,
you're kind of forcing it.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. This is one that I had circled, and I've been back and forth on, and I haven't placed it yet. I kind of like Ole Miss to cover 12 against Alabama, and I think they could win outright.
Yeah, so here's where I'm like that is what they want you to think.
Exactly.
And that is what the public is thinking. And there's no way this Bama team loses 2 in a row. Bama comes out and kills them. Ole Miss, I've said for a while, I think Ole Miss is a little overrated. But like maybe this Bama team is just that bad.
That's what I was going to say. It never happens to Bama, but have we seen a Bama team like this? They got one game where they should have lost to Texas, had 20 penalties, lost to Tennessee, 20 penalties. I mean, they've been bad on the road, really bad on the road. And that's really why I kind of lean Ole Miss here. And Lane Kiffin, you know how he is, man, his personality. I think he really wants this one. And I know it's a cliche, it's stupid to say, but I just don't really trust Bama on the road. It just depends. Is Ole Miss's crowd going to show up and have like an Athens UGA versus Tennessee type game?
I don't think they're even capable. Their crowd is so bad. My friend who went there for the Kentucky game earlier was like, that crowd is horrible. They don't even show up. So
yeah, I know.
I don't know.
It is a good point. This is a big stay away for me. Louisville and Clemson, 2 teams that I've been 50-50 on this year. Some big misses, some big losses. I got nothing on that.
Yeah, I don't either. I was actually looking at Louisville because it feels like people would want Clemson to be the bounce back, like being a bounce back spot, but Louisville's a lot better than I think people give them credit for, and they'll be able to move the ball. I whiffed on James Madison last week. Louisville came out and just kicked them in the balls. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not going to bet anything, but I was looking at Louisville.
I've seen a play for this game. This isn't mine. Shout out to my boy Bryce over at Cook the Book Bets. He likes the over in Maryland versus Penn State, but other than that, I really don't have anything on this game.
It has gone up 2 points. I think the Sharps like the over too. That's not a bad pick at all. I actually like Maryland plus 10.5 just because I think they can move the ball. And Penn State, I just don't totally buy them. 7-2. I mean, they came out and killed Indiana last week, but I mean, look at the 2 teams they lost to, Ohio State and Michigan. They both put up over 40 points. It's offenses that can move the ball. They're susceptible to offenses that can move the ball. And now you're playing Maryland. I don't know if Maryland wins the game, but 10.5, they can lose by 3 points.
They've been a respectable team this year. I will say that.
Cash star win total.
This feels like an under game. Our poor NC State Wolfpack without Devin Leary against Boston College.
Boy, Boston College is just horrible. Yeah, I got nothing, but this would be big. What's the win total we have for? Is it 8.5 for NC State?
Yeah,
I think it's
8.5.
Yeah, so let's go for that.
Yeah, I guess so. I've got enough hedged in NC State to where I really haven't touched them that much this year. Pretty interesting game, UCF at Tulane.
Yeah, it's kind of a big matchup too. This is kind of going to be a game as a college football fan. I'll sit down and watch and enjoy, but I won't bet it. It's a pick'em, so it has a chance, I think, to possibly be the best game of the day if you really wanted it to.
I've had good luck with UCF this year, and I'm not going to start wading into that.
Yeah.
And Tulane, we had Tulane against Kansas State that 1 week.
Yeah, and UCF's been good. I mean, they've been good to us. I'm just going to sit and enjoy these two wagons.
I could not agree more. Weird 3:30 game. Arizona State, Washington State.
Oh, that is a 3:30 game. Nothing. That is weird.
Yeah, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. Stay away from me. Both
Hell
of those
no,
teams
yeah.
I have, except for when I'm fading Oklahoma State, and I'm not picking Iowa State. So
No.
Army at Troy on NFL Network.
No, I will not be watching this either.
Yeah, good on that. This is actually the PU game of the week. I'm sorry. Wisconsin and Iowa.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like the under's ratty. I've gotten burned on some Wisconsin unders this year.
Yeah, the obvious bet is the under. And I'm going to take the under because I just have to. I look at the two teams playing. And then I look at so what is Wisconsin's offense? Like Iowa's offense doesn't do anything well. Wisconsin's defense is good enough, and Iowa's offense will not move the ball at all. So what does Wisconsin's offense do well? They run the ball really well. And Iowa's defense is 7th in rushing yards. Like that's Iowa's strong suit. I mean,
I love it, man. 35 points, and we're going with it.
I don't get it. Yeah, I'll take my loss on that if they go over. If it's like 24-17, that's fine. You got to show me first.
Yeah, I'm in. Northwestern, Minnesota.
Teams that beat Nebraska have all lost the next week. It's some crazy stat. And Minnesota just beat Nebraska. So there's that. But no, I don't know.
Speaking of the Panthers, I'll sneak this one in here. I have the under on Thursday Night Football tonight. It's supposed to be really bad weather. Thursday night under. It's a bit money this year. So there you go.
That's a good call.
Speaking of unders, Miami, Georgia Tech under 44 and a half. I have on this one. This is the ACC game that I was talking about, by the way. I did not think Georgia Tech was going to be favored in this.
No, they did.
So yeah, I got the under in this one. I don't foresee a lot of points being scored. Neither team is particularly good. So I'll just take two bad teams and under.
That's smart. I was actually just out at the cemetery paying respects to our Georgia Tech under 3.5 wins. They will study this in 100 years and say, how in the world did Georgia Tech go over 3.5?
My stepdad is like a diehard Tech fan, and I was telling him, I was like, hey, no offense, I had y'all under 3.5 wins, but I was like, he's got y'all playing, man. I was like, he got you there, and I was like, if y'all hadn't fired Collins midseason, this would still be. They'd probably still be a 1 win.
Easy. Yeah, Miami too is just absolutely awful. So that's literally their underdogs to Georgia Tech. That shows it.
New Mexico Air Force.
No, Air Force has screwed me too many times.
Me too. App State Marshall. That actually might be kind of a sneaky good game.
Yes, but no, I don't have it.
Yep. Charlotte, Middle Tennessee.
No.
Louisiana Tech, Texas, San Antonio.
No.
North Texas and UAB.
No.
South Carolina, Florida. This is an interesting one. This is a stay away from me personally because I don't really trust either of these teams. I would probably lean Florida. I don't think they're dead. I don't think they've quit. South Carolina, I also don't think they have quit by any means. But if we're talking about two teams, like one hasn't just given up, I think I would give Florida the edge just because they played better than South Carolina at times this year.
Yeah.
But stay away. Anything could happen in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I really hesitantly wrote down South Carolina plus 8.5. Just because my first thought when the line came out was, are we sure Florida's 8 points better? I mean, I know South Carolina's offense is bad, but Florida's defense is also really bad. They struggled early in that game against A&M, the corpse of Texas A&M. Yeah, I don't love this play, but I did take the Gamecocks because it just feels like probably a close game.
We'll call it a lean.
We'll call it a lean that I wrote down for locks. We'll call it what it is.
Texas State, South Alabama.
No. The public likes South Alabama, though.
And then next, we have your number one Georgia Bulldogs going into Starkville, Mississippi. Let's talk about this game a little bit. We can go in depth on this one. So I had this game circled earlier in the year as a game that I would potentially be worried about.
Yeah.
I'm less worried about it now. Even after a big win against number one Tennessee, I don't think it's that much of a letdown spot.
I can see that.
I don't know about the spread, but I don't think it's a letdown spot.
Well, I definitely had this circled all year because I was really high on Mississippi State. And I mean, I'm still a little worried just because that's the nature of me as a fan.
Me too.
But you go to Starkville in a night game, they should be pretty juiced up. I respect their offense enough. But look at what we just did against Tennessee's offense, and that gives me a lot of promise. I have no idea. I don't want to touch the point spread at all, but I mean, I would be very disappointed if we came out of this with a loss. It'd be really tough to see. So
it wouldn't kill us because obviously you can still win the SEC, but I still think Mississippi State's a good team. I stand by everything I said at the beginning of the season. It has nothing to do with it being a trap game. It has nothing to do with them beating Tennessee. I just think Mississippi State's a decent offense. They can run the ball. They don't run it a lot, but they can run the ball. And their defense is a little better than a lot of people give them credit for. So I don't think this is a spot where Georgia, I can just confidently say Georgia's going to go out there and play 17. They might, but I'm staying away.
Every time, though, we doubt, that I've had my doubts about us as a team, anything, whatever it may be. Oh, we're playing Tennessee. Oh, this is a letdown spot, whatever. We just come out and we kick ass. And I just wonder, is this a spot where it's like 28-0 in the second quarter? And I'm like, I should have known, I don't know.
I can't think of many letdown games under Kirby Smart's watch. And so that gives me a lot of confidence.
Also, Kentucky is not the team we thought they would be. I wonder if there's a way they can just say, hey, lock in one more time here on the road. Just handle the business here, and we'll go next week to what should be, I would imagine, an easier game. So,
yeah.
I hope.
Next, another 7:00 game: Washington and Oregon. Oregon has been really good this year. They make Georgia's win look even more impressive week by week. We've had some good times with Washington. We've had some bad. Mostly good though, I will say. But this is a stay away from me. I'll probably have this game on the second TV while I watch Georgia, and I'm just gonna watch this one.
Yeah, I'll be enjoying this one too. I think the Sharps really like the over at 73. So
yeah,
look for a fun game there.
Yeah, I actually Cole has the over in this one. I might tail him on that one.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. I mean, it's very high scoring game.
I have a more ridiculous over too. So
Washington can't stop anybody. And if Washington didn't lose that upset loss at Arizona State, where we had Washington, then they're 8-1, and they're in the thick of things too. So they're surprisingly a much better team than I think people realize. But I'll be rooting for Oregon in this. I'm rooting for Oregon to win out.
So I'm going to have a 73-point over and 2 77-point overs this week. That's just you're rooting for fun.
That was.
Next, we got Kansas State and Baylor, two teams that we have been on a lot this year. We were pioneers of the Kansas State train, and you have been very adamant that you think Baylor's a little overrated. Do you have anything on this?
I'm looking very, very closely at Kansas State. Kansas State and I, we're flirting. We've gone out for a few dinners. And Baylor's getting all the public here.
Last week against Texas was really the only time Kansas State's burned us this year.
Yeah, I mean, and that was to be expected. It was. I admitted I think Kansas State may have been a square pick. I said that as I was picking it. I just still think Baylor has looked good, but they're not as good as Kansas State. I really like Kansas State, so I will probably end up betting K-State. I don't have it right now, but definitely look out for that one.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting one. It'll tell us a lot about Kansas State. Speaking of Kansas and Texas Tech, two teams that have been all over the place this year.
Yeah, I look at Kansas winning their Super Bowl last week, which was awesome for them to get to a bowl. You got to go to Lubbock now, where Texas Tech has been really good this season. We saw them, beat Texas here. They killed Oklahoma. They killed West Virginia here. So I would probably lean Texas Tech, but I'm not going to bet it because I don't want to go against Kansas.
Yeah. Wyoming, Colorado State.
No.
Florida Atlantic, Florida International.
Oh, that is horrible. No. Florida Atlantic. No. Gross game.
No. Here we go. We got our. I've said this a few times. We got our rat line of the week. TCU and Texas. That number 4 right by TCU's name should probably lead you to believe, 7-point underdog. That's easy. And I think this is actually the week where TCU loses. I do believe that.
I do too. Yeah. I still think Texas is a good football team, and they absolutely blew it against Oklahoma State, and then you have the Oklahoma or the Alabama loss. I mean, those are 2 losses right there. They could be an 8-win football team. They're very good. They're going to be at home. It's a night game. You're going to get such a juiced up crowd. I'm really excited for Chris Fowler and Kirk to call this game. I think it's going to be an awesome game. I actually am going to take the over 65. It just looks I expected more points there. And I think it's one of those where the winner scores 45 and you're looking at like 45-34, 45-31, something like that. That just seems like not enough points. So give me over 65.
I'm going to ride on that one. We're rooting for fun this weekend. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Come on. It just has to. And you look at their last 4 games, the winners scored in the 30s. I mean, I think they could definitely do that. TCU can't stop anybody.
Last week was such a set it and forget it week. I mean, I only bet one 3:30 game, but I could not care about a bet in the world.
Yeah.
During Alabama, Tennessee.
I quietly went 2-4 last week in my locks, which I couldn't, I didn't care about, but
I went 6-4 because it was just all over the place. A big mix of good during the noon slate and the next game, North Carolina, Wake Forest. I have over 77. Let's see some points.
I actually think it's a good bet too. I do. I was going to lean towards Wake. Just because Wake, you look at their last 2 games, they've been losses, but they've turned the ball over 11 combined times in 2 games. Now you're playing a defense that does not force a lot of turnovers, a defense that does not get a lot of stops. It's the perfect get-right spot for Wake Forest. And, I mean, do we really think North Carolina is an 8-1 football team? They've had a few close calls. I think their last 4 games have been 1 possession. Yeah, I mean. And their last 4 games have been 1-possession games. So I like Wake at home. I like Kansas State. I haven't bet them yet. I probably will. But yeah, that's where I lean.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Betting over 77, objectively, just a fun thing to do. Which is why it's not my last one. I'm betting over 77.
But if you get 1 turnover, 2 turnovers, might be cooked. Unless they're like red zone turnovers.
Unless they're pick sixes.
Yeah.
Auburn, Texas A&M. I don't know if I'm going to make this a lock, but I like Auburn to win. I think they're playing for Cadillac Williams. Still not believing in Texas A&M. Just still not. Haven't all year. Still not. I like what Cadillac Williams is doing. I believe it's at Auburn. It is at Auburn. I think Auburn gets a win here.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I agree with everything. Auburn's actually, at least one team here is playing with heart, and they're at home, and they like their coach. So, yeah, exactly. I like Auburn in that one too.
I'll probably buy it up to -1, but I like Auburn. Next, we got Southern Miss and Coastal Carolina. I think Coastal's -5.
Yeah, so this is might win closing line value of the year award for me. I got Southern Miss +9.
Really?
Before early in the week, and then it because I thought Coastal's been a little overrated all season, even though they are 8-1. And then Grayson McCall got ruled out for the rest of the season.
Oh, I did not know that.
This thing has dropped. So I can't give out a good pick here in faith, but I do have Southern Miss +9 on the sheet. So
that's fair enough. That is completely fair. Who do we have next? I believe it is. Let me check real quick. I'm entering some numbers. We have Florida State and Syracuse.
Yeah, might be my favorite of the week. I'm not totally sure. I love Syracuse. Yeah, this team's been, they fall. We see teams that when they can surprise people and they go on a run, like Syracuse did where they were undefeated, and then they lose one, it kind of can fall apart. But they got to come back to earth at some point, and you're going to play Florida State. Syracuse has a good defense. They have an offense that can run the ball really well. Sean Tucker's a monster, and Florida State does not do well against the run. Syracuse is at home, and then you get the public liking Florida State and the Sharps coming in on Syracuse. So I think it's a perfect storm. I just expect them to bounce back at home and a night game, which should be fun. So give me the orange. Yeah, give me the orange. It's a touchdown. I mean, come on. I think they can win outright. I'll look to play them on the money line a little bit.
Okay. All right. Cal, Oregon State. I'm done with Oregon State this year. I gave them my game of the year. That's all they're getting out of me.
You called them though before the season when we did the Pac-12 preview. You liked frisky. Oregon State. You said they were frisky, and they really have been. It's nothing for me here, but Yeah.
I like them. Good for them. Hope they win. Stanford and Utah.
This seems like I have Stanford under 4.5 wins, and they beat Notre Dame as a 17-point underdog. This just feels like one of the really weird Pac-12 games where this is like tied in the third quarter, and I have to sweat. And it's on ESPN. I'm not going to pick anything, but I need Utah to win that.
I got you. I have the over in this next game. Arizona, UCLA over 77. I'm taking another 77-point over.
There you go. I got nothing.
Both these teams can score in bunches. Let's have some fun. All right.
I'm really,
go ahead.
Really excited for USC UCLA coming up.
It'll be a good game. I think I might be UCLA on that one. We'll see.
I was about to say I lean UCLA big time.
Let's see. The last three, a couple Mountain West, are traditional Hawaii, almost midnight game. Boise State, Nevada. Nothing. San Jose State and San Diego State. Battle of the Sand States.
Nothing, but I just find myself late at night sometimes just like betting a little bit on San Jose State games because they're kind of good. I mean, they're 6-2, but yeah, right now it's nothing.
In our last game of the slate, we have Nevada and Utah State and Hawaii.
Yeah. Congrats to anybody betting that game. You get what you deserve.
I've had my Hawaii action for the year when I had Vanderbilt coming out and crushing them.
Yes.
And Vanderbilt covering 3 wins. So that's all I got.
Yes. That was
all right,
good,
guys. Yeah. We appreciate y'all tuning in as always. Let's make some more money this week. It feels like we got probably about 10 plays each. Something around that.
We'll be good.
Something around
we'll
that. Yep. And we appreciate y'all tuning in as always. We'll be back for the recap Monday.